Micdup.
Highlights from Lowlifes. Highlights from Lowlifes.
And dead air time.
Hey, everybody.
Dead air time.
Everybody except Marty.
Dead air time.
Easy.
Dead air time.
We're all here except for Marty, who has a black screen.
He's here.
Dead
He's
air
here.
time.
There he is. There he is.
Dead air
He's
time.
with us.
Dead air time. Dead air time. Okay. All right. Here.
Yes, you got 3 or 4 seconds of dead air after the theme.
Oh,
Hey, everyone!
Professional
Thanks for
show.
joining us on Highlights from Lowlifes. We are still digging out after our 2025 Lowlifes baseball trip. So we're going to get back in the swing of things and go back to our continuing theme of favorite baseball players at each position on the field. We have completed everybody defensively except for the pitchers and the right fielders. Tonight we are doing right fielders.
excuse me. I wasn't properly dressed. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Put on a tie, Marty.
I feel better
Thank
now.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So tonight, your top 5 major league favorite right fielders of all time, for whatever reason. And we've already discussed this. We're going to have dupes, and that's okay. Everybody has their story about why somebody is their favorite, and that's the fun part. And we want you to chime in with any of your favorite right fielders. If you're watching the show, hit the microphone at the bottom of the screen, and you've got 30 seconds to leave us your favorite right fielders and why. And if we like them, we'll play them on the air. If we don't like them, we might play them on the air. So I see we have a few in here. Mr. Big Juicy has chimed in with some of his.
That boy, Big
So,
Juicy.
yeah. And Mr. Lannerman is not here tonight. He's on assignment. He might even be at the Almanac Brewery. I don't know.
That dirty guy.
Yeah.
Without getting
Hey.
without going
about
through without going through waivers, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Just don't come home empty-handed.
Yeah.
So we,
Bob's
of
almost
course,
had a
are.
sour.
That's right. We are sponsored by Almanac Brewing in Alameda, California, and we will be in a few minutes telling you about what we're drinking tonight.
Yes.
Yes, I am drinking a sour. I'll tell you all about it when we get there. But let's get started.
Can I interject before we get going?
Please do.
Okay, I want to thank you and introduce everybody else to our newest fan, newest follower, Stuart, and his wife Laura Lesher. That we saw him last week up at Tahoe, and they said, "Well, he loves sports shows." I said, "You don't want anything to do with us," but no, he signed up anyway, and this is their first time with us. So welcome aboard.
Hey, cheers.
Yes, do not be shy. We won't bite. If you do leave us a question, you get to hear your voice on the air. So call in. Give us something to talk about here. All right. Hey, let's get started. JC, in your decades and decades and decades of baseball fandom, who is your number 5 top right fielder and why?
Well, Webster, you always say I go back, a ways in these, and I figured I'd go back almost to the 1906 earthquake, but not quite.
Okay. Yeah.
So this guy played his entire 22-year career with the New York Giants. He signed as a catcher, but Mr. McGraw said he was too small to be a catcher, so he moved into right field. He hit .307 over the lifetime, 12-time All-Star, 511 home runs, Hall of Fame in 1951, Master Melvin, Mel Ott.
Oh yeah,
retired by the franchise. He was the NL home run king. until Willie Howard Mays passed him in 1966. So that is why Mel Ott is my number 5 guy.
Excellent
Wow.
pick. It's in keeping with our Giants fandom, but Mr. Ott certainly deserves to be mentioned on this show. That's very cool. 511 homers. Awesome.
Yeah.
He got
Master
his
Melvin.
number retired with the Giants too, didn't he?
Yeah, number 4.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, JC, who's up next?
Well, I want to go with Marty on this one.
Okay. He deserves to be better than number 5. But I got run into a numbers game because of a few things I'll talk about later. But not so much for the fielding which was phenomenal. But the man is the legend of San Diego, and I'm talking about Tony Gwynn. Now, again, so Tony Gwynn's going to be a lot of other guys' list, and better than number 5. And more I think about it, he should be higher. But 15-time All-Star, 5 times Gold Glove, 7 times Silver Slugger, and he was never very proud of his defense, but he worked at it and won all those awards. Not to mention 8 batting titles.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that means you were good. That you were good at the beginning in your rookie season when you hit 289, and then this stat from Baseball Reference. Let's just repeat it. Mr. Padre hit 289 in his rookie season in 1982, and then hit above 300 for the next 19 seasons of his career.
What a hitter.
Yeah. How many times have you heard about these guys just bursting onto the scene and doing great, and then the pitchers adjust and he can't adjust back? I think he shouldn't be called Mr. Padre. He should be Mr. Adjustment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to be able to do that for 19 consecutive seasons, that's pretty phenomenal.
Yep.
Teddy Bear, take it.
Oh, okay. I've got a 12-time All-Star and a 7-time Gold Glove winner out there in right field. But he also is a 6-time Silver Slugger, drafted by the Padres also from 73 to 80, then traded to the New York Yankees for 81 through 90. It's Dave Winfield. And Dave Winfield started with the Padres, and actually they retired the number 31 that he wore in his San Diego days in honor of Dave Winfield, and was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2001. But he does kind of have something in common with Randy Johnson, because in 1983, Winfield was warming up in right field, and he threw the ball in towards the dugout, and it killed a seagull. When he threw it in before the 5th inning of the game. Now, seagulls happen to be protected by Canada. They're a protected Canada bird, and at Exhibition Stadium, the fans responded by hurling obscenities and objects on the field. And after the game, he was brought to the Metropolitan Toronto Police Station and was charged with animal cruelty to animals. He was released after posting a $500 bond. And it's supposedly said Yankee manager Billy Martin said that that was the first time he hit the cutoff man all season. But the charges were dropped the following day, and Winfield missed the Yankees team bus to Hamilton that night to catch their flight home. So he was driven to Hamilton personally by the Blue Jays general manager. So in the offseason, Winfield returned to Toronto and donated 2 paintings for an Easter Seals auction, which raised over $60,000. And for years afterwards, Winfield's appearances in Toronto were greeted by fans flapping their arms anytime he came up to the plate. So that was Winfield. But he actually got traded to the Blue Jays in '92, so he did have to go back and play for them. But I think things were all better by then.
Oh, yeah.
But that was just an interesting little brush with Randy Johnson sort of thing.
Winfield was also responsible, in a way, for George Steinbrenner getting suspended from Major League Baseball.
Uh-huh.
George tried to get a gambler to dig up dirt on Winfield so he could get him off the team, and he was found out, and George was suspended for 5 years.
Mm.
So
Good.
he's also the first
Good.
Padre in the Hall of Fame. He
Yes.
was
Yes.
in before Tony.
Yep.
So, seeing as we're all really old here,
Yeah.
the last two guys that we've spoken about were actually very, very accomplished basketball players as well. For example, Tony Gwynn had more assists during his college basketball career than he had strikeouts his entire Major League Baseball career.
Uh-huh.
And Winfield was part of a famous fight between, I believe, the Minnesota Gophers and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the early '70s. Uh, it had racist overtones because I remember it was several black players on Minnesota beating up a player on Ohio State that they felt had a flagrant foul. But great, I remember the issue of Sports Illustrated coming out and just seeing this guy with blood on him on the cover, and there's Winfield in his basketball uniform. So
Wow.
all right, I have one that I think you'll all identify with. It, if you've watched this show, you hear me complain every once in a while about living in the Midwest, and the game of the week was always the Yankees
And the Red
or
Sox.
the Red
Red
Sox.
Sox.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But having said that, there were some very, very good Yankee and Red Sox players, and I'm thinking about one Red Sox in particular who was a great hitter, but an excellent outfielder at Fenway Park with that very, very low right field fence. You'd see him go into the corner and steal home run after home run. Kind of a tall guy, Dwight Evans.
Evans.
Oh,
Just
yes.
yeah, just
Mhm.
just a great player. So graceful. What a great athlete. Um, he made difficult plays look easy. Uh, he knew how to play that corner in Fenway better than anybody else. In fact, they would, when the new outfielders were traded to the team, Evans was the one that coached them on playing in right field. Here's what you need to do.
Mm.
Here's where you need to play for the carom, all those kinds of things. And just a good person, too. Yeah, he didn't seek the limelight like some of his teammates did. He just showed up every day and did his job. So he's my number 5 pick.
Hey, cool.
All right.
That's a good pick.
Good,
Nice
good
job.
pick. Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Hey, let's go into our number 4 round. Brent, why don't you start us off?
All right. Well, he's a professional baseball outfielder and in right field there and designated hitter. Played 17 seasons in the major league, most of his time with the Athletics. And Jose Canseco. Yeah, he established himself as a premier power hitter in the game. He won Rookie of the Year in '86 when he came in, and Most Valuable Player in '88. Was a 6-time All-Star. But his two World Series championships were with the Oakland A's and the New York Yankees. So I always watched him out there with the fellas. I know that in when McGuire joined the A's along with Canseco, they also had Reggie Jackson on the roster at that time too. So they had quite a bit of firepower in the lineup back there in '87.
Hmm.
They were all up and coming, and Reggie was kind of past his prime a little bit. But I know Canseco played in the minors. He played for the Idaho Falls A's and the Medford A's and the Modesto A's. And I was looking to see if he played with the Ports at any time, but I couldn't find any information on whether I'd, he went through
I
the
think that
Ports system or not.
I
Maybe
think that
before
was
the Ports.
before his time. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe so.
Mhm.
Maybe so. But what I remember the most is when he was playing right field and he went back on a long fly ball and it hit off the top of his head and went over the fence for a home run. I don't think I'll ever forget that one. That's on
He
all the
was not
highlights.
he was not the best fielder. He was adequate,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, he
Except on
was.
that occasion.
Hence the
Yes,
DH.
yes,
Yeah. They
yes,
found a spot
yes.
for him in the DH. They could hide him in the DH spot. So
Hmm.
that was a good deal. Anyway, that was my number 4. Hey, Marty, what do you got?
I pulled my list. I must admit, I just the background cheated by pulling up Baseball Reference and their top right fielders.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there is a name that I heard a number of times before, but just didn't. There's it's not clicking, but it's stirring back there, and there's more back there. I noticed every day, and that's something else again. But uh, and we ran into this guy in Pittsburgh, and so I it showed up was Paul Winter.
Hmm.
And everybody says, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, who's in the hall? I remember he's in the hall, but why isn't this clicking in?" He was Big Poison. That was the nickname. He had a younger brother that played with him also. His name is Larry. Again, this was Paul, but his younger brother Larry, and he was Little Poison. And the legend is when they were playing in the Polo Grounds, someone was trying to disseminate between the two people and came out with the ethnic accent, came out Poison. So that's supposedly how they got the name Big and Little Poison. So that's cute. That's a cute little story. All right, fine.
Cute.
All right.
Hmm.
He played for the Pirates for 15 years. And this is the one that jumped out at me. He's in the Hall of Fame. In 1927, he was the National League's most valuable player in his second season as a pro. Second season as a pro. Wow. He won 3 National League batting titles, led the National League in putouts 4 times, and holds the career record by most putouts by a right fielder. And now I have another connection with that, and we'll bring up later. And I thought I saw some contradictory evidence of that statement that was there. So I'll get to that. A little suspense. I'll keep you about that a little later. But you dig into this guy's career and back then, it was truly, truly phenomenal. His number 11 is retired by the Pittsburgh Pirates. And if you remember, gentlemen, and I'm sorry, JC, I don't want to make you feel left out, but but you were on the trip, and on the side of the hill below the stadium, they have the numbers on the side of the hill of all the retired numbers, and so that was Jeff had number 11.
Yeah.
And there's another one that's all coming up to mind, and we'll get to him later. And
okay,
and so you want to cheat, you can look at the picture. Landerman is standing behind that one.
Yes.
But
Yes.
but I said so number 4 is Paul Wainer. He for his time for what he did back in the 20s, I thought a phenomenal career. So he's my number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, JC, go ahead. Sorry, and I owe you an apology. I'm sorry about that.
Cheers to you, Marty. No problem.
You got it.
All right. My number 4 is a guy named Bonds.
Who?
Bobby, that is. Bobby Bonds.
Yeah.
3-time All-Star, including MVP of the 1973 game. All-Star for the Giants at that time. 3-time Gold Glover. His most famous thing is that he had 5 30-30 seasons, 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases. And he ended up with 332 home runs and 400 stolen bases. That's still tough. Only that's a good record. He He played for the first time June 25th, 1968 for San Francisco. Played last in October 4th of 1981 for the Cubs. And I actually had the chance to meet him at one of the fantasy camps. Nice guy, but very reserved, very standoffish. Just didn't want to mix with everybody.
Huh.
But his son was up and coming and really the star. So he wanted to stay back in the low lights, so to speak. So that's my number 4 is Bobby Bonds.
I remember Bobby Bonds came to a Junior Giants luncheon one time, and we were all taking pictures with him. I guess they paid him to mingle with us a bit. So,
Yep.
but I do remember that in Candlestick Park, Lynn and I would watch him go into the corner of the dugout and light up a cigarette in between
Oh
innings.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was he was a guy, and he died of lung cancer
Imagine that.
and a brain tumor
Yeah.
Oh,
related to smoking.
Yeah.
So that was unfortunate. Webster, it's up to you to end it.
All right. Hey, Marty. Not to embarrass you in front of the crowd here.
what else is new?
Yeah. I was looking at Paul Wayner as well. I think his brother's name is Lloyd.
Yes, it wasn't
Lloyd.
Lloyd, not Larry. You're
Yeah.
correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
You
Yeah.
got the L right.
I sit
Yeah.
corrected. If I stand up, you'll see my fat, but we won't go into that.
Yeah. So my number 4, the way I remember right fielders is if they had a tremendous arm. If there's a ball into the corner, there's some iconic throws that you've seen over the years where runners get thrown out at second, third, or home, and you're going, "Oh my God, that guy threw that on the fly or on one hop or something." But this guy, he had a laser arm. It looked like he was throwing fastballs from the outfield into the infielders. Played on some really bad teams, but made it to the Hall just because he carried some of these teams on his back. Vlad Guerrero,
Oh yeah.
just so good with the Expos and the Angels.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best bad ball hitters I've ever seen. I mean, he didn't want to take a walk. You could throw it on a hop and he'd line it into the outfield. It's like what's going on here? Just extreme power. I remember him using an extra long bat, so he would take pitches off the plate and crush them up at the alley in right field. And then that awesome throwing arm from the outfield to pick off runners. And from all accounts, a good guy. A good team player that made you better. So Vlad Guerrero is my number 4 pick.
I
All right.
like it. That's good.
Yeah.
Good.
All right,
Hey, what
guys.
time is it?
We have reached the time in the show where Robbie says it's his favorite, where we talk about our sponsor, Almanac Brewing of Alameda, California. Yes, it's correct. We need to go back there and do another road trip to see our friends there and maybe do a show from there. We're coming up pretty close to our 100th show. I think this is
wow.
number 95.
Oh, God.
So we'll have to do something fun for 100 or thereabouts. But let's talk about what you're drinking. JC, what did you have there?
I have one of the last Almanac True Kolsch's on the shelf.
Oh,
This is the original beer I was introduced to from Almanac and spread it around the golf course with Marty and Jonesy and Brent and we've loved it. We've all loved it ever since. And it's changed now. They've gone to the Almanac True Lager, True American Lager, but they're still going to produce this Almanac True Kolsch as a summer beer. as a special, and it's gonna come out uh, pretty soon again. So it's bright, refreshing, and crisp.
Ah, see.
And it's a 5.0, so it's not like you can't have more than one. In fact, you can't. It's like potato chips. You can't eat just one. So cheers, Marty. What you drinking?
Well, I was going through the beerator in the garage, and to my amazement and total glee, I pulled out one last can of the Rocktoberfest.
Oh
Now,
yes.
Yes,
again, we're talking
yes.
about now. It's late June. It was 90 degrees at the ball game today. Oh, by the way, Aces won again. But
Yay.
anyway, but but it's a they call it a Marzen, but it's still it's nice taste. It's still refreshing on a day like today, and they this is true to do pull that off. These are truly crafted brewers. I mean, it's this is their fall beer, but it's still in the middle of the summer, just light, refreshing, and marvelous. So there you go.
Excellent.
Webby, take
Excellent.
it.
Very good.
All right. I am climbing the mountain again with the Almanac Sour Nova. The latest and greatest is the Plum Sour Nova. Um, this one, JC, the tagline at the top: fruity, refreshing, and tart. Now, I'm going to be honest with everybody. Anybody that's watched the show, I am not a sour fan, but I'm guessing if you like sours, this is your beer. My local liquor store has a pyramid of Almanac beer,
Oh wow.
and they only carry the sour brands.
Oh.
So I can't get any of the beers that you guys are talking about, but I can get sours whenever I want. So
you
Lucky
you
you.
so
you special. You're just
that's
special.
right. That's right. So try this one if you're a fan of sours. This is the latest and greatest from Almanac, the Plum. Brent, what are you drinking?
Well, tonight I've got a nice West Coast pale ale called The Future is Fluid.
Mm.
And it's a nice hoppy little, IPA. And they list it as dank, lush, and bold. Now, how dank do you say? Well, it's not too dank to overpower the lush and the bold. So I'd say it's
Hmm.
just the right amount of dank. And I don't remember the last time I described something as dank.
Yeah, is I don't is dank a good quality or a bad quality?
Well, this
Yeah,
is made by the
Marty.
ladies of Almanac. This is their flavor that they put out. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Oh,
yeah.
really? Okay.
This
Oh,
is
All right.
from the
well,
the
all right.
Pink Boots collection from the ladies of
Hmm.
Almanac.
Hmm.
Robbie, you want to play in Big Juicy on his what you drinking?
Easy, coachy.
Oh, good. Thanks for reminding me. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see.
Bottom.
Yeah, here he is. And here we go.
Hey guys, now that we're back on the West Coast, I thought I'd go with Almanac Seaside, a West Coast style IPA. It's fruity, and as I like my IPAs, juicy. It's dry hop, means more hop flavor without the bite.
All right,
Saludos,
Big Juicy.
amigos.
I was yesterday. I was out um, in Big Juicy territory. I know he lives in Pacifica. I spent much of the day in Half Moon Bay. It's interesting to drive from here in the South Bay for 45 minutes and to have the sun go completely away and be on the coast.
Yeah, it's summertime.
Where, yeah, the temperature goes down 30 degrees.
Yeah,
Right.
But
Yeah.
summer
it's a
in the
good
Bay
time.
Area.
Hmm. So thanks, Big Juicy, for your offer, and thank you, Almanac, for supplying with us with this great beer. And we hope to come and see you soon. You folks need to get out there and get Almanac at your local liquor store. All right. we move into round 3, and Marty will start this round.
All right, now let's have a little quiz just for fun.
Okay.
All right.
All right. This individual has been mentioned once before, but I'm just going to read a statement, and you tell me who you think it is. One of the very few players to move directly from high school to the majors. He hit .383 in 35 games before turning 18.
Wow.
He was mentioned before. Mel
Who's
Ott.
it?
Oh,
Mel
no,
Ott.
Mel Ott.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, a 12-time All-Star, 1933 World Series champion, Hall of Fame. Need I say more? Mel Ott's my number 3. Webby,
Nice.
Webby, go for it.
All right. I'm going to talk Pittsburgh Pirates, and I know all of you are going, oh, he's going to take mine. I am, but not yet. I'm going to talk about another Pirate who made an iconic throw in an All-Star game that they still show today to advertise the upcoming All-Star game. Dave Parker, the Cobra, for the Pirates and several other teams. He became a nomad, much like Bobby Bonds. He was one hell of an athlete. He was a mountain of a man and had one of the strongest throwing arms I've ever seen. And the All-Star game in question was a line drive into the corner, and Brian Downing of the Angels, who's a good runner, a good base runner with great instincts, was sent, and you could tell as he's coming around third, he thought he was going to be safe. I didn't say he slowed down, but he thought he was going to be safe. Parker was in the right field corner and unleashed a throw on one hop to the plate, and Downing, it wasn't even close. There was no place for him to go. He went into a slide, but he was out. And if I remember, there was like a little bit of a silence, kind of like after we just played our theme song. And then the crowd just erupted. They had just witnessed something that they didn't anticipate. All the momentum went over to the National League. I believe they went on to win the game. Parker was a great hitter, incredible power. He's kind of a shell of a man today. He gets around with a walker and a cane, but his mind is still there. He attends all of the Pirates reunions, and he's just an iconic player in my opinion. There is a push to get him into the Hall of Fame, and I think it will succeed. There's a lot of people that feel that he was a bit of a game changer. So I think we'll see that soon.
All right, that's good.
Right? Yeah. All right. Let's see. JC.
All right. This is kind of an emotional pick for me. This guy was a career average 244 home runs, a career 279, 244 home runs. He actually appeared on an episode of The Full House, the situation comedy.
Dynamite.
Yeah, he was. That was in 2016. 3-time All-Star. He was the Willie Mack Award in 2013. Comeback Player of the Year in 2019. 2-time World Series champion. He was the Reverend Hunter Pence. known for giving his inspirational speeches in the 2012 World Series, where the Giants faced 6 elimination games and won them all.
Yeah.
6 elimination games. It was amazing. And in front of all those, he did his little Reverend Hunter Pence speeches. So that's my guy number 3.
I got a 100 pen story if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
I
go
do
for it.
too.
Yeah. What now? He came from he came to the Giants from the Phillies.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So
He's a Texas boy. Yeah.
yeah. So I was working for Merrill at the time, and Merrill sent me to New Jersey, I think it was, for some training. And I'm taking the cab back to because the VIPs get limos. I got a cab back to the airport, and I think I had some Giants paraphernalia on, and the taxi guy said, "Hey, we just 100. You guys just got 100 pence." And I said, "Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, I'm not that familiar with 100 pence." And he just said, "Trust me, you will." And there were more no true words that
Absolutely.
said from a cab driver in New Jersey years ago. So I thought that was So
Yeah, very good.
yeah.
Hey, on when he was with the Phillies, also, actually on July 31st, last day of July, the Phillies sent Pence on a deadline deal to the Giants. Like you were, traveling around that cab that day, probably.
Yeah.
And anyway, 3 weeks later, August 21st, despite Pence no longer being on the team, the Phillies went ahead with a previously planned 100 Pence bobblehead promotion. And they handed out bobbleheads of 100
The guy
Pence
made us.
3 weeks after he had left. Yeah. So later, as a Giant, he made this fantastic catch up against the archway in right field, and slammed up against a great catch. And they made a Pence on the fence bobblehead that they gave away one time. And I don't know if I still have one of those, but they were circulating around quite a while. But yeah, he was a. I thought that was interesting. We got all these bobbleheads. What are we gonna do? Let's just give them away anyhow.
Yeah, let's get rid
Yeah,
of them.
right. What are you gonna do? Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Why not?
Cool.
All right. Did everybody get to throw
No,
out one in that? Okay, Brent.
my number 3, Ichiro Suzuki.
Oh
His
yeah, yeah.
combined playing time.
Yeah.
His combined playing time in the Nippon Professional Baseball and MLB, he received 17 consecutive All-Star and invitations and Gold Glove winners. He won 9 batting titles. He was named the league's most valuable player 4 times. In the Japan League, he won 7 consecutive batting titles and 3 consecutive MVP awards. In 2001, Suzuki became the first Japanese-born position player to be posted and signed by an MLB club. No, he was awesome. He always seemed to smile and like it. He was uh, American League MVP. He was regarded as one of the greatest contact and leadoff hitters and defensive outfielders in baseball history. And
Yeah.
I remember, I know Seattle loved him as a player. And when he was on the Mariners Ball Club, he seemed like he was just an all-around good guy. Loved baseball, loved to play the game. And I remember seeing a YouTube story about this young lady that had a fascination with him, and he was her number one fan. And she would always buy tickets down the right field line just so he could get closer to him. And one time, a foul ball came over very close to where she was sitting, and he leaned in and made a catch right in front of her. And they didn't show him anymore; they just showed her just smiling and jumping up and down. Well, it turns out later she somehow got to throw out the first pitch for a game. And rather than send out the bullpen catcher to catch this thing while the celebrity goes out and throws the pitch, Suzuki comes out of the dugout and she didn't know anything about it. And it was all planned. And so she got to
That's
throw it
awesome.
to her
Yeah.
favorite player and then,
Yep.
give her the ball, sign it, get pictures taken, all that stuff. So he was a very good sport about it too. So she was just over the top. But anyway,
Great.
Suzuki was my number 3.
All right.
Cool.
We have finished round 3. Let's jump right into round 2. Brent, who do you want to start this round?
Oh, let's go with you, Rob.
All right. I'm going to use an iconic player. People that they either love him or hate him. I think he taught Ricky Henderson to talk about himself in the third person. Yeah. Um, Reggie Jackson
Yes.
is an iconic player. You can't get past that.
Nope.
He was the face of the game for a while, especially
Mr.
when he was on.
October.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the
Field
Yankees.
October.
He was the man in those playoffs against the Dodgers in the World Series, hitting the home runs off of Welsh and Huff and um, I forget the third pitcher, but just crushing the ball. Um, and then wore out his welcome in New York um, after fighting with the manager over and over. And I think he went to Baltimore and the Angels, but I remember seeing the movie Naked Gun, where Reggie gets hypnotized and must kill the queen, and so it's good that he managed to laugh at himself a bit.
Good.
He still contributes to the game at his age. You see him attending card shows and uh, um, baseball related activities as a kind of an ambassador for Major League Baseball. What got me about him is he's not a very big man. He's kind of short compared to some of the big slugger you see out there. And then as he's gotten older, he's lost some of that muscle,
Uh-huh.
but still the same personality in an interview. So it's good to see him still out there in the game. So he's the number 2 pick, Reggie Jackson. All
Nice.
right, Brent, what do you got?
I got one of my former coaches from fantasy camp, Jack Clark.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
during his prime, Jack was one of the most feared right-handed hitters in the National League. He won the Silver Slugger Award in '85 and '87, a 4-time All-Star, 18-season career, and he ended with a 267 hitter with 340 home runs. But yeah, like I said, he was one of my coaches at fantasy camp. He was fun to have on our team to help us in the batter's box. He said, "You know what? You need to do this and you need to do that." And everything he said worked. It really was. It was fun to listen to him. He was a tall, big guy, and slick black, slick back hair. He looked like he was in the mafia, and you'd want him on your side in a bar fight. Let me tell you. But he was a
Yeah.
lot of fun to talk to, especially if you talk cars and motorcycles. I would do that. He would be, I'd be at first base and playing, and he was, sitting there in the coach's box, and we'd talk cars and motorcycles. And one of his weaknesses, though, he had for luxury cars. He kind of was driven into bankruptcy in '92. He owned 18 luxury automobiles.
Oh God.
Yeah, including a Ferrari and a Rolls Royce, both over about $700,000. And he was trying to pay 17 car payments at the same time. And whenever he got bored with a car, he would just get rid of it and buy another one. It was amazing. He ended up he went bankruptcy, but he got back on his feet in the late '90s. And I remember one time from the hotel we were staying at to Indian school, he gave me a ride in his brand new T-Bird. It's when they came out, so it must have been in the 2000s. Remember when they brought back a T-Bird?
Yeah.
He bought one. It was a yellow one, and we drove to the ballpark, and it was fun. But going, yeah, just and also, JC, we were going to Hobie Landis' birthday party in Saratoga, and we stopped at his restaurant he had in San Francisco.
That's right.
And we asked, does he stop by very often? They said, well, not really much anymore. He used to come in a lot more. But it was a nice place with lots of baseball memorabilia on the walls, things like that. But yeah, Jack Clark, I liked him. He was a cool dude. Cool
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
And you can say, yeah, I knew him. Matter of fact, he gave me his cell number. He says, "You get in the LA area, we'll go ride motorcycles." I said, "Yeah, right." And he gave me his number, and he probably would have, but I wouldn't have dared called that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be total green fly, wouldn't
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it would.
it? Okay, so that's it.
All right.
JC, what do you got for number 4?
Before I
Or
do that,
number two, right?
Oh,
Two.
two. Excuse me, two.
two.
Oh, two. Excuse me, two.
Two. Before I do that, Big Juicy had a comment for you, Brent, about your what you're drinking. You see it there, Webby?
All right. Let me play that one in. Let's see.
Hey, Brent, I could use that dank beer over here on the coast. It's foggy.
Yep. It's confirmed. The fogginess goes all the way from Santa Cruz up to San Francisco. So
Wow.
yeah. Mhm.
So I've got a number two, and he's a favorite player of mine, and he's a current player. He was drafted by the Mariners in 2012,
Mariner.
but didn't make it to the Giants. He languished in the Orioles system for a long while, and then got traded over to the Giants as a minor leaguer and came up May 25, 2019. In 6.5 seasons, he's slugged 111 home runs. He was the Willie Mack Award winner in 2020. His current average is 250 with 6 home runs for 2025. A great defensive player. He has the distinction of having 3 walk-off splash hits. July 29th, 2020 versus the Padres. June 19, 2023 versus the Padres. And April 9th this year versus Cincy. Mike Yastrzemski. Yaz is a very inspirational player, and could be argued that he's kind of the heart of the Giants in a lot of ways. So
Yeah.
Yaz is my number 2 right fielder.
Yeah. Good one.
Okay.
Good one.
Marty.
I have him as number 2. Maybe a lot of you guys have him as number 1. But then it's a play. Number 21. Going back to Pittsburgh, and of course, is Roberto Clemente.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
we don't. And here's just a few things. Just mind, MVP, 15-time All-Star, 2 times World Series, Gold Gloves. This was the stat earlier that I kind of when I was talking about Big Poison, talking about the all-time assists from right field. And I look a little closer. Roberto Clemente's 266 outfield assists leads all outfielders since 1920.
Wow.
Had the opportunity when we were in Pittsburgh to go to the museum, Roberto Clemente Museum. I knew about Clemente. I was familiar with Clemente, but I knew nothing until the museum. The curator spent pretty much all day with us.
Fantastic guy.
Yeah, marvelous. And then we went downstairs.
That was good.
And his wine collection. And he was just opening up bottles left and right. And it was good wine. And I was kind of thinking, I got to take something away from this because it's good wine. And he spent all this time with us. And I've learned from before that when you buy wine, you can't have one. You need to have 2, one to take home a drink and the other one for later. And my sincere apologies to Tony Hensley and Chuck, because they're big Raider fans. But I like Franco's Italian Army. I thought that was the best one he had. And I'm not gonna pull it. I don't want you to see it, but the picture at the bottom was the completion from Bradshaw that was against the Raiders in the playoff game, the immaculate reception. So So these guys didn't see this. So I didn't do this. So if it's a big mistake, forget it. I'm so sorry. Roberto Clemente, my number 2. Please get me out of this. Somebody talk. Get me out of here. Get me out of here.
All right. We are done with our second round. We will have our number 1 picks. But just want to tell you briefly a little bit about micdup. Of course, you're watching us on the micdup app. micdup is actively pursuing getting into major sports organizations, teams, both college and professional. And our show serves as a proof of concept. There's lots of other great proof of concept shows on the network, in both coming up and in the archives. So take a look. Again, you can participate. That's the fun of this, is that you can exchange your ideas with us. So we've got the ability, as we said before, to hit the microphone at the bottom of the screen and send us a 30-second question or comment, and we can play it on the air. You could hear your voice, and we'll interact with you there. Our show.
And you can re-record it if you butcher it. You can cancel it,
Yeah,
start
you
all
can
over.
do that.
Yeah, it's very
Yep.
simple, very user friendly.
Do not worry. We, the Highlights from Lowlifes, we have our own YouTube page with all of our archive shows. Some of them are great shows, and some of them are just truly awful. But we're not gonna tell you which is which. You have to listen to them all. So
you got 95 hours to do it.
yeah, we've talked about everything under the sun, mostly baseball, but we have football and other sports shows. We talk about sports and pop culture. We've got, if I had to label us, I'd say we're a comedy show of a bunch of guys that I mean, I don't want to get into a long argument about who's right and who's wrong. I just, I like, what's everybody's opinion.
Yeah.
And so we try to keep it light, and
we're a
that's
barstool show.
Yeah. If you call in here with your opinion, we might make fun of you if you're from the Yankees show, but other than that, so please participate with us. And I think you'll have a good time with it. All right. So let's
That's what
go
we used
on
to do
to
on Sundays during COVID.
yeah.
We used to kick it around with 9 of us.
That's the important thing, is we would be doing this even if there weren't cameras in front of us.
Yeah.
So let's move on to number one. Marty, who would you like to go first here?
JC is going to go first on number one.
All right. I didn't want to steal anybody's, so I went back a ways. Before I was actually born, which goes back way ways.
Whoa.
In 1917, September 25th, a guy joined the New York Giants at the age of 20. And he played for 9.5 years for the Giants. And then, unfortunately, he got kidney cancer and died at the age of 30.
Ugh.
Oh, my God.
But he is a Hall of Famer, voted in by the Veterans Committee in 1972. He was a right fielder. He batted a .322 for his career, and for his short 9.5 years, he had 1,492 hits. He played 1,211 games. And he wasn't a power hitter, but he was a consistent hitter.
That's a 1+ hit per game.
Yeah.
1,500 with 12 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really amazing what Ross Youngs did as a right fielder. He was a great fielder as well, and that's why he's in the Hall of Fame, voted in by the Veterans Committee. And it's not a name you hear very often. I don't know if you guys saw his bust in the hall, but he was a good gosh darn player.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, Brent.
Okay. Well, he's been mentioned before, but I got to go back there. Mr. Padre, Tony Gwynn. I've got a couple little things to say. he developed a decades-long addiction to smokeless tobacco as a young adult, and was diagnosed with salivary gland cancer in 2010, and he died in 2014 at 54. And his death increased awareness regarding the tobacco usage in MLB, leading to the league-wide ban on the substance for all the new players in 2016. So, kids, if you're watching us, that's too bad. You shouldn't be. We're a bad influence. But if you are, don't do that stuff. Okay,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really not that great
Exactly.
stuff. And the other thing I was going to tell you is we went to a opening day game in the Giants. I forget what year it was. Obviously, it was before. Uh,
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
got down
Oh,
there
well.
Hey
early.
guys, now that
And,
we're back on
There you go.
the West Coast, I thought I'd go with Almanac Seaside, a West Coast
I didn't
style
touch anything.
IPA.
I didn't
It's
either.
That's it.
fruity, and as I like my IPAs, juicy. It's dry hop, means more hop flavor without the bite.
Thank
I
you,
can't
Saludos,
Juicy.
amigos.
I can't believe that while Brent is talking, that Dave Hall decides to jump in with his beer opinions again.
Someone ought to talk to that guy.
That's
Somebody ought to
Yeah,
talk to
okay.
that guy.
Big Juicy, come on.
yeah.
That's okay. Anyway, my
We'll
sister.
figure. Yeah, we'll figure out why that happened. So you were
Okay.
finishing up about Tony Gwynn.
Yeah, Lynn and I went to the opening day game, and they were playing the Padres, and we got there early. And Mark Grant was announcing, for the Padres, but he was down on the field on TV, with the big lights on him and everything. He's sitting in a chair, just outside of the Padres dugout. So once the lights dimmed down, we knew he was off the air. We went up to him to say hi, and we noticed that all the other Padres were out there stretching and stuff. It's way before the game, and so anyway, we said, hey, Mark, how you doing? And we asked him. So I see Tony has one of his people do his stretching for him, I guess, and he laughed like he always does. He says, "Hang on a minute," and he goes over, looks in the dugout, and says, "Tony, come here. I want you to meet a couple of people." And so
Oh.
Tony Gwynn comes out of the dugout and he says, "Hey, this is Lynn and Brent. They play fantasy baseball camp with me down there in Scottsdale." And he's a big guy and he's a big smile and he says, waved at us and says, "How you doing?" Then he turned around and walked back down the stairs. And he was probably shaking his head thinking, "Damn it, Grant, why do you do that kind of stuff? I was trying to relax."
Yep, yep, yep.
But I always liked him because he took the time out to come up and say, "Hey." That was nice. That was really good.
Yeah,
He was a
yep.
good dude.
All right. Well, let me
Okay.
finish it up here
Yep.
with our number one pick for the last of the number one picks. So good news, JC.
Yes.
Mike Yastrzemski just led off tonight's game with a home run. So
Oh,
there's
did he really?
there's
Oh,
number
wow.
7.
Okay.
Number
Yeah.
7.
Ah,
All right.
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good.
Nice.
So Marty's already mentioned Roberto Clemente. I think I would have had Roberto Clemente on my list whether we went to the Clemente Museum or not,
Mm-hmm.
because I always respected him as a player. But the things that we learned during our tour with Dwayne Reeder. Dwayne is the founder of the Clemente Museum. He's an artist who stumbled into
Yeah.
the idea of creating a museum after meeting Vera Clemente, Roberto's widow. And Wayne has done something, or Dwayne has done something that all of us kind of dream of. He's got a big house. It's a converted firehouse that he's
Firehouse.
made into a museum and a tasting room. It's like he's got all of his toys in one building, and he can charge people to come over and see them. The place is just fantastic.
It
I
is.
mean, I don't know how to describe um, what it's like. But I remember walking downstairs, and the railings are all baseball bats.
Yeah.
So you're grabbing onto baseball bats.
As you go down.
Dwayne's passion is to collect these bats of former players, and he really has done a great homage to Roberto. If you didn't know, Roberto died at age 38. he had predicted his death. He
Yeah,
didn't know when it would happen, but he had dreams of dying in a plane crash, which he did. He was on a mercy mission to, I believe, Nicaragua
Right.
to deliver supplies to a country that had been ravaged. And the stories we heard uh, from his teammates, just a great person. His early contract negotiations with Branch Rickey. Um, if you never got to see Roberto play, he was a very different athlete. There's lots of pictures of him hitting where all of his weight's on his front foot.
yeah,
His back foot's in the air and he is throwing his weight forward. Nobody would teach this today. But that's the way he hit, and he had power to all fields. Excellent fielder, just a tremendous guy. So Dwayne is now running this museum. It's around 30 years old now. Um, it's spotless. The items in there are absolutely unique. There's a room devoted to the 1971 World Series team,
Series.
which is awesome to see. Um, and Dwayne's wine, which is called Engine House 25 wine, because
uh-huh.
that's where he's at, Engine House 25. Um, he it's a great wine, as we've attested. I'm no wine expert, but Dwayne's told us that he's won many awards.
Hmm.
And the reason I'm telling you this, it does tie into Roberto, is the way this all got started was folks were coming in to the museum, which was one floor at the time. It's now expanded, it's 3 floors. And he combined his passion with that. So frequently, Dwayne will get a call in the middle of the night. It's midnight, and some major league team wants to bring a bus full load of players over
Players.
for some wine
Right.
tasting. So he opens the doors, they all come in, and players are buying their own barrels that they can revisit every time they come to town. Apparently, Manny Machado is a top customer. Aaron Judge is a customer. Albert Pujols is a
Yes.
customer, even though he doesn't drink,
Yeah,
but it's for his friends and family.
yeah,
And it's just a wonderful place to be, and it's a wonderful celebration of a great player, but also a great man. So uh, you need to see the Clementi Museum in Pittsburgh when you're there and enjoy the wine. So
Yeah. And
that's my number one. Mhm.
and trust your GPS because it's putting you in an area you would never think would be a museum. But remember, it was an old firehouse. So
yeah.
Yes.
it blew me. We're going this way. Are you sure?
If you don't know, if you don't think you're in the right spot, look for a building with a huge painting of Roberto on the side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Dwayne,
So,
So yeah.
I was
Dwayne,
fascinated by your discussion of the numbers, and as we know, uh, the season ended before he flew off to this rescue mission. He ended with exactly 3,000 hits for his
Correct.
career, and then he flies off and he's killed in the plane crash. But the museum is a converted firehouse, as you said, and the number 21 is significant in that firehouse, right, Marty?
Oh yes,
Yes.
and a
Mhm.
number of different ways. It's truly eerie how that kept popping up. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep. That is the fee that you pay, $21
Yeah.
$21.
to get in.
Um,
So
yeah.
Yeah.
No, Dwayne is a very connected man too. Besides all the baseball players and stuff he knows lots of different singers and actors that come down there and have a good time.
right.
JC Eddie Vedder goes there quite a bit, he says.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then I don't think I really truly believe that the Lowlifes got one of the best tours that
Oh,
was ever given at that place.
Yes.
I don't think
phenomenal.
a regular tour would get what we got that day.
No
That
way.
I
was
think
just absolutely awesome what Dwayne did for us.
Yeah.
I think he understood we were true baseball fans and we
Yeah.
enjoyed the history of the game. So
Uh-huh.
it was fun for him to take us around. And you know what? This guy's been doing this for 30 years. he's telling us stories, and a few times he choked up. You
Yeah.
know, he's
Uh-huh.
the sadness of what was involved with Vera Clementi, raising 3 boys by herself.
Yeah.
It was something.
And still the connection with the Clemente family.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
some great stories that he says that this should go in a museum, but maybe not because some of the family may not appreciate it. He all went into the big story, and again,
He had to cover things up because they didn't want to see it. Yeah, the family would come in there. They didn't want to see that.
A phenomenal gentleman. He really was. I just
fantastic. Yeah, that was a one of a kind tour.
Yeah. Hey guys, we've been rambling a bit.
Okay.
We're a little bit past an hour, and I want to do our play-ins and maybe have a time for a couple of honorable mentions. But Big Juicy has chimed in with his 5. Let's play those in.
Well, here are my 5 in no particular order. I'm going to start off with Roberto Clemente. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were at a museum dedicated to him and his career, so that popped up first in my mind. Next, how about Ichiro Suzuki? More hits than Pete Rose. And then following him, I've got Reggie Jackson, Mr. October. And then Fernando Tatis Jr. seems to have gotten his life together, and he's a great player. And my number 1 coming up.
Ooh, we did not mention Fernando Tatis.
We didn't.
Ooh,
yeah,
he came into the league as a shortstop, but he's become a pretty darn good right fielder. So, yeah. All right, let's see who his number 1 pick is.
And I've saved the best to last, meaning the player that I'd love to hate the most. Love to watch him play, only to see him get upset or do some outrageous kind of antics, like kissing the bat in the batter's box, or making a throw all the way from the warning track in right field over the catcher's head at home plate on the fly. I'm talking about Yasiel Puig. Love to see him in opposing ballparks when the fans really got to him.
I think that's Tiger's favorite too.
Yeah, I think Big Juicy put that in there. This was your top 5 favorite. So it sounds like at one point in his life, Dave was probably a Dodger fan and probably figured out that wasn't a good thing to be. But I would say that if you name the top 5 things in life that our good friend Terry Lee Tiger hates, Yasiel Puig would be 1 through 5. So yeah, yes. So yeah, I think that was a little prompt. I hope Terry's listening. It should really make his day. All right, guys. Any honorable mentions? Players that didn't get mentioned that you want to give a shout out to?
Well,
we didn't
Babe
get it.
Ruth and Mookie Betts, a couple
And
of
Henry
them.
Henry Aaron was one I was going to mention. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Babe Ruth, obviously, as you said, can't put in a list of right fielders without those 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's in the Hall of Fame, and he was monumental player for the Rockies, Larry Walker.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Back when we all started following baseball, guys played the same position all the time.
Yeah.
And today a guy will maybe play all 3 outfield positions, so they don't get labeled as a right fielder or a left fielder as they do now. And I understand that's the evolution of the game, but there are some great outfielders today who occasionally play right field. So, it's good to see some of those guys recognized. But sometimes you think of right field as that's where they stick the guy who can't play the field very well. But hey guys, Terry has chimed in. Tiger has just left us a message.
My!
Let's see what he has to say. This could be very hateful. Maybe we need to block this out.
Tiger here. My number 1 hated right fielder is Yasiel Puig. You'll love to hate that guy, even though you're right. You're right, Big Juicy. He's very good for a little while. And I'll leave it at that. Good show, guys. Talk to you soon.
That was great. All right, guys. Why don't we wrap this up?
Okay.
We'll be back here next Wednesday. I believe we will be doing the show from Stockton. Guys, are we attending the game there? Marty, I don't know if you'll drive down, but
I'll have to
Brent
get
and
back to you
JC.
on that. Yeah.
Okay. Brent and JC, are you planning on Port's game next Wednesday?
I believe so. Yes.
Yes, I think
Okay.
so.
All right. We'll pick a fun topic. Maybe we'll go into pictures, but I've got some other ones to run by you. So we won't post the show yet, but we will be back here next Wednesday, 6 p.m. on the micdup network. Thanks for tuning in to Highlights from Lowlifes. Have a good night, everybody. I'm going to do a play out for us if I can find it.
Prost.
Cheers.
Highlights
You got it.